What is happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the channel and the 4x4 Ranchero rescue. If you have not seen it yet, our last video, we got this thing fired off for the first time in over 30 years. This 350 Chevy was just absolutely completely torn apart. It was a disaster. And quite honestly, probably one of the worst, most difficult wheeler runs we've ever attempted, but it does run. In today's video, we're going to get it dialed in running, and we're going to find out if this thing's going to drive. Now, we finished up the last video by pulling off the front of this motor and finding out after everything else that was going on, the timing was incorrect as well on this motor. It did fire off, but to begin with, you can see I went ahead and tucked everything back on here. Let's pull this carburetor and let's get it built. Time to see what we were getting into with this Rochester Quadrajet. Let's check our soup out. Oh, that's toasty. Sheesh. What it's gonna do to this thing. That's my good throttle cable. We don't discriminate here at Budget Builds. We like them throttle cables.
Yeah, even when they don't work.
That's perfect. You notice we don't have any accessories here, but we do want to be able to turn our water pump. So I got a belt that I think is the right length, and we're gonna try to safely turn this thing over and or pull it over and maybe try to put this belt on. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's perfect. Now, safest thing to do, there is a thermostat in here. Go ahead and pull it. We know there's probably a bunch of mud daubers in there, rust, crust, and we'll probably flush it a few times. Ooh, it had been there a long time. It's all crispy. Dang, why's that radiator leaking? It looks good. Well, we may have some water issues going on here, but I think it's time to see if we can get this thing to fire up. Now, I did go ahead and grab the timing light, which obviously you just hook to your battery, #1 spark plug wire, assuming that this thing will run enough for us to time it. But let's try it out. We've got our fuel pump. It goes to our tank, and obviously the tank will sit right there on the hood after we adjust a few things here. So it did finally pop off and run, but this radiator is leaking so bad. It was spewing it all over the car, all over me. And so we're gonna try to swap this thing out. This poor radiator is toast. I gooped it up some, but you know, still doesn't like it. It did not have a radiator with the right side. I kind of gooped this up, but the whole bottom's been ripped off. So, you know, it's still leaking. It ought to be good enough though. It is running. I don't know if we're gonna be able to drive it without doing a radiator. It's pouring. For anyone wondering where all the stuff that came out of the exhaust was, all in here, all the way almost to the back of the 911. We did find another radiator, so it might not work. Man, that's a good idea to actually cut sections out of the frame to fit the radiator in there. The bottom is correct. The top is wrong, but I'm thinking we might be able to make it work. Okay. Please remember, this is for testing purposes only. We'll do this up nice. I plan on next video when we put that engine in, I want to go ahead and finish shaving this bay and actually do it up really nice and make it look nice, and at least get that done before we take the time to put the motor in, as long as everything seems to pull good transmission wise and all. If I do get it running good and we seem to be idling to a certain point, I will rev it up some. What?
It's not a Ford.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna put some Ford transmission fluid in here. I think it'll help it run better. I've got this tiny little port here, but I think that'll help us push through and free our rings up and everything, and hopefully get this thing running pretty decent, because it sounds surprisingly okay for as bad as it was. Very good.
Where did it come from? Look at the door, look at the door.
Before we attempt to move it, I think we might want to consider the possibility of brakes. We'll try to pull this cap off here. Oh, crap. Okay, might need a new. We might need a new master cylinder, I don't know. Yeah.
Look at her hole in it.
It looks brand new in there. Look at that. Let me just blow the rust out. Oh, this thing's good to go. Oh, it's perfect. See, the nice thing is it's dry, so it kept it from getting too crusty. Is it trying?
It might be.
Was that a burble? You darn straight. Not clear bleeding yet, but it does feel like it might have a little bit of pedal. Let's fire this thing back off. Let's go ahead and check our transmission fluid, see if we can get it topped off. Let's see if this thing will move. Well, after 14 hours of turning this motor over, that old starter that was already not in that good a shape gave up on us. So we do have a new starter. This is the big boy, the old original, cheapy, picked up from O'Reilly. So let's sling that up in there. Let's turn this thing over. Let's get it fired back up. Let's dial it in. Add some transmission fluid, see if we can drive this thing. It went in gear. No, I don't want to enjoy this first drive just yet without Dad being here. He'll be here in just a little bit. In the meantime, you've probably seen that other fender's hacked off. Let's hack this goofy dually fender off. It might bring half the quarter with it. We're obviously gonna have to do a lot of work back here, so this is just a rough cut to get this big old goofy thing off of here. So much Bondo. That's some good Bondo. Sure does make it beautiful, doesn't it? Is it choking on its own? Let's see if this thing drives.
goodness. Oh, interesting.
Oh, it wrapped.
Put a hole up there?
Well, I guess that's that drive shaft was really bent, as you saw. I was gonna put my camera up under there so you could see the drive shaft, and it actually surprisingly moved, but that's as long as it was interested in going. I am glad I didn't put the camera down there because it probably would have been blown up by a drive shaft. It runs. We need a return spring. I didn't have a return spring and it was idling high and everything, but there's no brake, so it was rolling. And I realized I accidentally bent this with the jack when we first got this thing. And so I couldn't steer it either. So I was trying not to roll off into the woods, and that was a little silly. It drove though, sort of, and I think it probably would do okay with the drive shaft. So that's I think that's gonna be the end as far as attempting to drive it now, because I don't think it's gonna drive it. We could put it in 4-wheel drive. You want to put it in 4-wheel drive? Okay. Okay, so it's his idea. He just decided. So we're gonna put this thing in 4-wheel drive, which that drive shaft is also bent, and it's like a little piece of pipe from Lowe's. So, but we'll put it in 4-wheel drive, and also I want to remove that steering stabilizer, because obviously that's an absolute mess. So, not only did we blow the drive shaft, when it did, it kicked off the e-brake cable, which the transfer case ate, and killed the tail shaft. Now, those tail shafts are not that expensive, so that's not a big deal, but it does stink. Kind of all went out with a boom.
So you just hang that shock thing down.
Yeah, we can see if we can remove it.
Drive shaft removed.
Dad got a return spring on here. That shock hanging out of the way. Oh, it's all-time 4-wheel drive, so as long as we lock the hubs, we should be in. I'm gonna go in low, just to be safe. So I run over. So if it does keep on rolling, I just roll right through whatever it is. Send it back there.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it just freewheels, so I don't know if it's because it's an all-time 4-wheel drive setup there or what, but are you thinking what I'm thinking? So this is exhaust pipe. Put it on our balancer. Yep, nice and balanced. Tail shaft is repaired. Our new pipe slash exhaust slash whatever the world is going on, it's in there. It's ready to go. It's good. Let's do this. This is great. This thing rides worse than anything I've ever been in my entire life. This is wonderful. You want to go for a ride? Your chariot awaits. This thing's awesome. This is great. What the? Oh, we just killed the motor. Don't get hurt. No, I'm waiting. Okay. Something's hitting the fan. That's what that noise is. Okay. The motor shifted.
Nuh-uh.
They had to have.
No way.
For it to come up here and then hit the radiator. Let me readjust this fan really quick. I just want y'all to know this has no reflection on what we do here. This is the most hillbilly absurd thing we have ever done or worked on. Oh my goodness. Just can get the
whole thing. Let's go.
Whoa, that's nuts. Let me spin it up. Here, let's go up with it. It's perfect now. Man, I thought this thing slung a rod, which would have surprised me. Give this another stab now. This thing is awesome. It's got some butt to it. I don't think it has near the gear ratio I thought it did.
What the heck is that?
What?
The plastic red stuff.
Tail lights.
Lost tail
fell
light.
out of this.
That's why they had that help.
This is great. Ah! Wait a minute. See, dude? That thing's terrifying. It's so awesome. This has got to be the greatest, worst vehicle ever. I cannot believe that 350 Chevy runs as good as it does now, and this thing actually drives. It is absolutely terrifying. We should probably have gotten the brakes working a little bit better because they don't work at all. But it runs, it drives, it seemed to shift at least into a couple gears, just kind of pulling through here. Definitely need to dial a few things in. And I think in our next video, we're probably gonna go ahead and see about starting to figure out that turbo diesel, get it put in here. It's this thing's hilarious. It's fun, it's different, it's ugly, it's wacky, and it's really cool. And I'm really excited to start bringing this thing back. We have so much that we're gonna have to do to this, but I think we're gonna take it steps at a time. Before we even start on the exterior and stuff, it's all going to be mechanical, figuring out the frame, the suspension, so on and so forth, to try to make this thing somewhat drivable and enjoyable. and we definitely gonna have to take it on some four-wheel drive fun here soon. If you all enjoy this and you haven't already, be sure to subscribe button and notification bell to keep up with crazy rescues like this and some of our other fun ones that we have going on, our rebuilds and our restorations. If you have been a part of the channel, we really do appreciate all the love and support so much. We have so much fun bringing these back to life, Dad and I do. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like, go down in the comment section, comment what you think so far of this and what we should do to this thing. Give us some ideas, because I kind of want to bring everybody in on this one. And also, something I do want to mention too, this 350 Chevy that's in this thing, you know we're pulling it out. It 100% needs to be rebuilt. It runs good, and it's only running better the more that we have used it and stuff. But if you want this, if you want to build it, if it's something you can use for your car, if you want that lawn block, come hang out with us for a half hour, maybe an hour. Let's yank that thing out. We'll throw it in the back of your truck, your station wagon, your car, whatever. Take it home with you and put it in a project. But go message me on Instagram and let me know. We'd be happy to let somebody take that one with them. But that will wrap it up. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.